Hi, welcome to Remove Logic Radio, everybody. I'm your host, Karen Ray Lacey, and I'm just so excited that you decided to stop by and spend another Thursday evening with me. And what I'm going to do today, we have an interview. I have a guest here, but I just want to say thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me on another Thursday evening on Remove Logic Radio. Remove Logic is a place where we help people that are stuck get unstuck, or, by testimonies, sharing stories, maybe health and wellness, or anything that you may be going through. We just call this a safe space where you can get strategies, ideas, and just guide applications for anything that you may be facing in life and you're looking to overcome and just kind of stuck in a place. So, Remove Logic is a platform that God inspired me, pushed me, and I'm out here because He said to create a space for people to come. And so I'm just excited today that you decided to stop by. Again, my name is Karen Ray Lacey, and I'm your host. I am an intentional person, intentional about solutions, not just on the air, but it's part of my daily walk. I'm grateful to you that you tuned in, and hopefully there's something in my intentionality that helps you along the way. I plan to bring you each week solutions specific to everyday life issues, clarity, the whys and the hows, and strategies and wisdoms that you can use to lead you not just across the floor, but out of the door. I like to give value by aligning the things that we give through prayer and agreement, and then life applications. Always, it's either me or I'm going to have guests on here with people that had to, maybe step out of something to start whatever it is they started, or some issue that came up that gave them the passion for what they're doing. So I'm just glad that you are here on Remove Logic Radio. Today I have a guest, a dear friend of mine, a classmate. I was just thinking when I invited her to come on, how she's been in this space for such a long time. And she has such a heart for it, and the passion for it, her personality, it just exudes the space that she's in. And I just so excited that she decided to come on. Her name is Denice Ford. She's a native of Fort Worth, Texas, and we went to high school together and graduated. She is a classmate, but she's beyond the classmate. She's a friend, and she's that person really to everybody that she meets. So I just want, without further ado, I want to introduce you to my classmate and my friend, Denice Ford.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Karen.
I am so excited to see you, and just excited that you decided to come on today. It always blesses my heart when people say yes to something like this. You don't really know what it is, but you do say yes. And so just thank you so much for coming on the show today. And I'm just so excited to be able to present you to my community, my Remove Logic family. And so just if you would just take a moment and just introduce yourself.
Well, hello. Remove Logic radio show. And Karen, I am so excited to be here with you and your community and those who are listening and will be listening in the near future. I don't take it lightly. I thank God that He put me on your heart to be a part of your show, and I'm just excited, and I'm thankful to God to just be able to share or have this another opportunity to just be able to share even the ministry that God has given me, Perfect Health God's way. So it's all about trying to help people, live healthier, happier lives God's way. So I thank you so much. And yes, you said you stopped at high school, girl. You know we went back to middle school. We got to go back a little further.
A little bit further, a little bit further.
And we've
Yeah.
been together for a long.
I do forget about Forest Oak because we're such a family. We had a gathering just a few weeks ago, and it was such a good time. It was just like, a family meeting. We were so far beyond classmates, and I was so excited to see everybody. But we just have such a camaraderie. And when I think about our classmates, it's not a lot of griping, it's not a lot of attitudes. Everybody just gets along. Nobody's sitting higher than the other. I just love my classmates. I say my classmates are better than yours.
Right, that's it. That is so true. So
I'm so glad that you're here. I wanted to just, first of all, give you a space to just talk about what you do. When I look at you, I mean, as far as knowing you from so long ago, you have been in this actual space for a long time. Where it was health and wellness. So let me ask you, what started you out with this passion or on this journey? What started you out in this direction?
Well, of course, I always wanted to be into fashion for a long time. So in high school, middle school, I was all about fashion, modeling, and sports, of course. But when I graduated from high school back in '82, of course, the Lord, he said, I've been having my hand on you for a long time. And so now it's time for you to come on in and have a real relationship with me. So I gave my life to the Lord. And when I gave my life to the Lord, Karen, I knew that I had a calling, but it was a special, I call it a special calling, because I sought the Lord about what I should do in the ministry immediately. I mean, I'm giving my life to the Lord, and I'm like, Lord, what do I need to do, or what do you have me to do, rather, in the ministry? And so God started speaking to me about helping his people with their health. Okay. And what really triggered that even more, I believe, is that I would see individuals going to the altar like every Sunday, or whenever there was an altar extended, for people to come to the altar. And a lot of them had health issues. They were praying. It was like the same prayer all the time. Pray for my high blood pressure. Pray for my diabetes, or pray for my arthritis. They, claiming those diseases as theirs, but I say don't claim that. But anyway, but that was what was happening then. And I'm like, Lord, your word, I'm getting into your word now, and I'm reading your word, and you say, with your son's stripes, we are healed.
Yes.
Why they keep coming back they came last Sunday, they back again. Wow. I'm a young Christian at the time and not understanding why is this, but the Lord said, help my people. So I started getting into the word from Genesis to Revelation. And of course, one of the scriptures that I really like to stand on, Genesis 1:29, God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth. Wow. All the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed, to you it shall be meat. So he broke it down to me and said that meat is not necessarily animal meat, flesh, but meat to nourish our body, to feed our body properly. He said, I've designed the body to heal itself if you just give it what it needs. Okay. And so, after a while time goes by, and I'm trying to figure out still what I want to do. Do I want to go to school and become this fashion buyer, continue to be this model, and what have you? And then I thought about it, and it's like, no, I want to be an esthetician. So I leave the school, and I go to school and become an esthetician, or rather, I'm going through the school. But I tell you, it's so interesting when you will to do good. What evil is always present. So I started at this beauty school to become an esthetician. Well, the day I started, the instructor retired. I'm like, what? so, so make a long story short, I'm having to do what? I'm having to teach myself. I'm reading the
Wow.
book. I'm trying to find some of the students. Can I practice on your face? You know, and they're like, oh. So I just had to really just get the hours, and then I said, okay, I'm going on to Austin. I'm gonna take my test, and I know God, you gonna let me pass it, and I'm coming back home. So I do that, and I did my first job at. I guess I can't remember which one was first, Sanger Harris or Foley's, whichever one, but they're the same store.
Sanger Harris.
So
I did too.
Right. So my first job as an esthetician was at Sanger Harris department store in their salon.
Wow.
So here goes God. I tell you, he's amazing. I'm in there doing a facial, okay? And the Lord starts speaking to me. He said, it's not what's on the outside, it's what's on the inside. So I'm making a long story short. So here it goes. So I'm kind of skipping some pieces, but that's okay. So the Lord just kept dealing with me, and I had this packet up under my bed for I don't know how long about herbs that someone had given to me, and I didn't read it. I just put it up on my bed, and I just left it there. And I'm like, I don't know why I put it up on my bed, but that's what happened. The Lord started dealing with me. He said, get that packet. He started revealing that packet, and Karen, it was like I had to help and finish this lady's facial and get up out of there and get home to get this packet from under my bed and see what it's all about. Well, I did that. I got home, I got the packet, I sat there on the floor, and I was reading this packet, and it was all about these herbs and all about how these herbs can help the body. And I'm like, it's an herb for every disease? Yes, it is. Because herbs do what? They are foods.
Yeah.
Herbs are tuned with they're tuned with nature. Herbs are not drugs, although they use the properties of herbs or plants rather to make a lot of prescription medications. So they take the properties from these herbs to do that. But they're not drugs, though. They are actually foods. Herbs assist the body in proper nutrition, function, and energy. Okay, there is an herb for every disease, okay? Herbs are capable of bringing the body into perfect health God's way. Wow. Romans 14:2 even tells us like this. For one believeth that he may eat all things, another who is weak eateth herbs. Now that scripture really means a whole lot more than just that, but that's the one that God gave me to really help people, is that if you're weak in your body, then not only do you pray and ask God for the manifestation of healing, because he already said we are healed. What God told me to tell his people to nourish that which he has healed. Wow. So a lot of people walking around with a lack of knowledge. But at the same time, there's so much knowledge now in this time that guess what? So many people are doing what? They are rejecting part B of that scripture. They are rejecting the knowledge. Yeah. So God dealt with me. He said, this is where I'm supposed to be. So I started learning about herbs. I started practicing, with taking herbs myself, seeing how they work in my body. At the time when that happened, I was a model, but at the same time, I had a skin problem. It wasn't on my face, but it was on my back. It was on my arms. And I'm like, wow, what can I do to clear this up? Well, I started taking a few herbs. One was an herb called yellow dog. One was another herb called burdock. And I just started taking these herbs. Well, it don't offend anyone. But yes, I had ended up finding out that I had a bowel problem. I was not having regular bowel eliminations. And when I started taking those few herbs, I started eliminating better. And then, of course, I started feeling more energy, wanting to do better with my physical body by even learning to eat better. I mean, even though here I was looking healthy, okay, I was into sports and doing well with sports, but at the same time, my diet consisted of Church's fried chicken, Cheetos, and grandma cookies and Dr. Pepper.
Oh my God, Denise.
I was like, they knew me in pizza. They knew me at all these little Church's Fried Chicken restaurants. They knew me at Mama's Pizza.
Yeah.
Yes, Dr. Pepper was my drink, and and Cheetos. Okay,
Wow.
and and so it's like, look at all that toxicity in my body.
Uh-huh.
Gave me grace to keep on going, that I didn't have diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, didn't have any of that. But that's what a lot of people are dealing with. So God called me to this ministry, and I say it's special. And people now call me the health evangelist. Like I just laugh and go on with it. But I also am ordained minister, but yet I just allow God to use me the way He has called me to be used.
Right.
And so it's a blessing that I'm able to, share, teach, consult people about their health, because He blessed me to open up the first Black-owned and operated health food store in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Yes. Now tell me, where is that located? I have another question for you, but where are you located?
Well, the store, of course, I opened that store back in 1991. Okay. And I sold the store in 2000 to GNC. So that's a story right there, because real quick, when I opened the store, of course, without any training, and this is another thing I want to share, because when God gives you something, yes, sometimes you need to go to school to get a little bit more training for whatever that is that God is giving you. But in this situation, it was a true faith walk, because I didn't have all the training to know how to manage and operate a full-fledged health food store. But my training really came from God, because I put my faith and my trust in God, and He led me and opened that door for me, So to open up that store in Dallas at the time, and then I sold it to GNC, and then God gave it to me to do what? Consultations, to really do the one-on-one. That's why I saw where people were lacking. They didn't have any guidance. They would go into the health food store and just ask for a little of this and a little of that, not knowing that there's a system for all of these supplements to really work in the body. Okay. So that's where I come in to take this journey with you, to show you, to guide you, to educate you, to motivate you, to support you. So I have an office right now in Arlington, Texas. Okay. I'm inside of a private airport called Arlington Air Center. And it's 5070 South Collins Street in Arlington. So I'm only there by appointments. And then I am planning on like a day where I'll just have like an open day where people can just come in and talk and just learn. And if I do have some of my high quality products on the shelf, then they can purchase some of my herbal vitamins and protein powders and things like that as well. But I offer foot detoxes too. That's a tool that I use to help with the detoxification of the body. And I also use the Zyto scan, which is a FDA approved medical device that scans your body through your hand. You don't take your clothes off. I don't want to see your body like that.
Thank you.
It's through your hand, and it reminds you, you're welcome. It reminds you of like having a polygraph test, because it's dealing with the galvanic skin response through your skin. So it's showing the stressors that are affecting your body systems. And those stressors could be mold, fungus, pesticides, glyphosites. It could be nutrition. It could be a number of things, hormonal and endocrine system, your sleep, your hydration, what else? Your mental and emotional stressors, toxic stress. It shows a lot. So it shows what's in range, and it shows what's out of range. So that's a good tool that I am blessed to have to help my clients guessing about what they need and really get on a good program that they will see results and get results and be able to move forward, with their health program.
That's awesome. Now, I do want to ask you, for those that, are just new to this space, how
Mhm.
do you define holistic health? And then just a little bit of why. I know you went on a search and God led you in this arena, and as you studied, but why would you say to a person that is not clear on what holistic health is? Why is it important?
Well, holistic health, well, holistic health not only deals with your diet and what you eat, but it's also mind, soul, and body.
Mm,
Okay. But it really goes even a step further than that, but that's the foundation. So like I have a nonprofit organization now called Perfect Health Holistic Institute, where
mhm,
our mission is to help people. Our mission is to educate, motivate, and support families. I work with children and adults,
mm,
help them to live a healthier, happier lifestyle mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. Okay. So holistic is all about everything.
yeah,
When I think about 3 John 2, it says, Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest do what? Prosper
prosper.
and be in health,
Yeah, yeah,
even as
yeah.
your soul prosper. So, Karen, when I first got started, I noticed that there were, people going to the gym. I was working with even some, you know, uh, not what they're personal trainers for other people, but they were bodybuilders too. And I still work with them even today. But a
Mhm.
lot of fitness instructors and what they're all buff and getting fit and what have you. But guess what? Some of them had a terrible diet. And
Mm,
then those who were getting ready to go for this bodybuilding competition, they would, do some extra stuff to kind of lose the fat, and they wanted to detox and get all built up and get those muscles right and what have you so they could win. But then after that, they go back to fat. I mean, really fat. It's like,
yeah.
what happened? Body was terrible. The health was terrible and everything. So again, with that being said, God was showing me to let them know that it's more than just being fit, hitting the gym every day. It's more than you saying, oh, I'm a vegetarian, I'm a pescatarian, or I eat healthy, but what is your soul doing?
Okay.
Okay, you got me?
Yeah,
We
got
can't do nothing without the Lord. So,
right.
you get all caught up with the physical outward being, but
Mm-hmm.
you're missing something. And that missing is your spiritual
Yeah,
foundation. Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah.
God was showing me that, yeah, these people were actually dealing with major health issues, but God was saying, they don't have me. They
Mm,
need me. They need to have a relationship with me. So that's when he started letting me stand on that word of 3 John 2. That yes, he wants us to prosper not only
yeah,
in our health, not only in fitness, not only in looking
oh,
good on the outside, but
yeah,
every area of our life,
yeah.
everything that concerned us. He said, I will perfect that. That's if
Mm,
we have a relationship
yeah,
with our Heavenly Father. So
yeah.
holistic is whole, mind, soul, body, finances, everything. Because guess what? When your finances are jacked up, that affects your health because you're doing what? You're
Right.
stressed. There you
Yeah,
go. Then you
yeah,
start eating stressful stuff. Okay. You
yeah.
hit fast food restaurants 3 or 4 times a day, every day. That's stress. Okay.
Stress.
You know,
Uh-huh.
so you're not going on and on with this. So you cut in with.
No, that's okay. And
Mhm.
that's good, because when you think about holistic health, you don't include all of those variables in there. You really just consider health. So to define that and give someone the broader space, because even as you were saying that, that's the scripture that came to me. And
Okay.
so, just to be able to apply it to your life, and then
Mhm.
biblically application too,
Right.
because a lot of times we just look at what the doctor says, but we are not seeking God for further
Right.
instruction on our
Right.
health. So
Right.
that's good. Now, what certifications or training do you have to have to operate in this space of holistic health? Did you have
You know
some
what?
certification?
Actually, I do have, well, I am a master certified herbalist, okay? And that's my specialty. That's really my specialty. So, what I mean by that is that I use herbs to benefit my body in whatever health condition that I encounter, okay? There is a time and a season for everything, just like the Word of God tells us, okay? So I will say this right now as my disclaimer. I don't diagnose, I don't treat, I don't cure or prevent any diseases. I educate, I mentor,
Gotcha.
okay?
Gotcha.
I do that. That's what I do. So with that being said, is that I also, during the pandemic, I decided, well, since we got to be shut in, I'm going to get some more knowledge. So I went back to school during that time online,
Mhm.
Trinity School of Natural Health, which is one of the top holistic health schools that you can do all your classes online. And people often ask me, I want to do what you're doing. Or that, they say, well, how do you do it? So I tell them, well, start, Trinity School of Natural Health. But at the same time, I love to train you myself too. So I
Mm.
offer classes. I mentor, okay? And so I'm mentoring several young ladies right now who are studying herbs, and they also want to become consultants and be able to educate and motivate and support individuals. They want to do classes. It's a lot of things, and I'm reaching back. I'm trying to get the younger. I'm young, y'all. Don't get it twisted. I'm young. I'm 61 young. Okay,
Yeah, yes.
but the younger people that I'm going to say 50 and under now. But okay, so I'm working with a couple of 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds that wanted, and I'm glad because we don't want this art of herbs lost.
Right.
It's from
Right.
Genesis to Revelations that God is telling us the herbs are for us to consume, really for our medicine. Our food is our medicine. So
Right.
I am a board. So during this time, I went back and I became a board certified natural wellness practitioner. So I've been able to go a step further, with the knowledge that God has blessed me to learn and help more people. So in the area of nutrition, and I've been blessed over the years to be grandfathered into a naturopath, okay, as a certified naturopath doctor. So I work with medical doctors, DO doctors, and I love it because we should have that relationship to work with doctors, say patients. As a holistic health practitioner, I say clients, okay? And so we should work together. And I'm thankful to God for that relationship to be able to help a patient, client to a healthier, happier life with the allopathic way, because there is a time in the season for prescription medication, okay?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, if one has to take prescription medication, hopefully not for the rest of your life, because I don't believe that. God
Mhm.
is a healer. I don't believe you should have to do that. But if you do, you should still be considering a healthier foundation to where
Right.
you work on your foundation holistically with natural foods, organic foods, herbs, good vitamin supplements, because here in America, our food is so depleted of
Yeah.
good nutrients that we can't get it all from our food, even though people would tell you, girl, you can get it all from your food. That is not true. You do have to supplement. We are
Yeah.
in a world now that is so toxic that
Yes.
we're, what I've been told from Dr. Pompey, who is another doctor, the medical doctor who I've learned a lot from. He says we are 10% human and 90% toxic.
Wow. That's big.
10% human and
Wow.
90% toxic. So therefore, we have work to do to
Yeah.
detox and cleanse this body, not once a year, not twice a year, not 3 times a lady. We have to do this every day.
Wow.
Every day. So that means you need to start looking at your food differently to say, how can I benefit from this food that I'm about to ingest?
Mm.
This food is my medicine. So if you are choosing to eat at the fast food restaurant almost every day or more than 5 times a week, then guess what? You're ingesting drugs,
Wow.
chemicals that are doing what? Going through your bloodstream, all right, and causing havoc on your hormones, ladies and men, hormones, okay, that's causing havoc on every part of your body. And then what do you want? You decide to go get a quick fix, what I call prescription medication, which is what I call the microwave. You
Mm.
want a quick fix to get over, but you don't want to use that stove. So you got a microwave and a stove in your home pretty much.
Yeah.
You don't want to use the stove and let your food take its time cooking.
Mm.
Therefore, you get more of the benefits from that food if you put in good food in the oven, okay, instead of the microwave, all right? But at the same time, if you're going to use that microwave every now and then, if you're going to take that prescription medication every now and then, you should still work on your foundation. And I work with cancer clients, and they still, even though they end up having to still do radiation or chemo, because we have started out on a holistic program with the herbs, vitamins, eating healthy, detoxing their body and things like that, their foundation is much stronger to
Gotcha.
be able to handle whatever amount of radiation and chemo that they may have to go through. However, I got plenty of testimonies on these programs that God has stopped some of them's radiation, and they didn't have to do all of it because he truly showed up and showed out and manifest healing in their body, and they are cancer free. So
Amen.
they did a little bit.
I was gonna ask you if you could describe a client that you helped with.
Yes. Yes.
Give us an example of somebody that you helped.
Yes. One is a sister. She and her husband, they are pastors of a church, and this was probably now how the pandemic has been 4 years now.
Yeah.
I mean, when it was the shutdown.
And we're in 2025. So 5 years.
Yeah. So this young lady, beautiful young lady, developed throat cancer. Okay.
Wow.
And she got the picture of the tumor and everything on her throat. And she went to her doctor, and because she was having coughing and stuff like that, and he kept just dismissing it. You hear me? He just kept dismissing it for a good little while, but it never went away. He would give her antibiotics or something. Just misdiagnosing. All right. So this developed over time where it could have been avoided, pretty much if they'd gone and cut it out or whatever, done something differently. However, yes, her history, she was not a healthy eater. She wasn't really into supplements or any of that kind of stuff. She was a hairstylist. She had already been taking in a lot of those chemicals that you inhale in the salon. Okay. So that's her background. Beautiful, beautiful person. And so anyway, when this got so severe in her throat, because it got to a point where she couldn't hardly, breathe. So he tells her that, she needs to just prepare for having to have all her teeth pulled out, and that she was going to, it was just so much that was going to happen with radiation and chemo, blah, blah, blah. He just really tore
aggressive. Yeah.
He just pulled her down. But she said, I am a woman of God. And, this is what she was sharing to me. She said, I'm a woman of God, and I believe God is not ready for me to have to go through this. And I'm going to trust God, and I'm believing God for my healing. So when she came to me, we started a program. We started doing lots of detoxing and cleansing with the foot detox internally with herbs. She started working on changing her diet, eating more organic fruits and vegetables, not so much meat, because you have to work with a person where they are. Okay. And then keep growing. So, to say no more meat, that was like, no matter how bad you're about to kick the bucket, seem to be in the bucket, you're like, so you work. So anyway, fasting from so much meat, but more increasing your organic fruits and vegetables that's free from a lot of the chemicals, pesticides, and herbicides and stuff. So she started doing that, but lots of foot detoxing because we were detoxing her body, cleansing and what have you. So start feeling better. We started researching though, because this tumor, it was like kind of at a standstill, but then at the same time, it wasn't like completely going away. So I told her, I asked her, I said, have you ever thought about one of the holistic cancer centers like in Mexico? So we started researching that. She started praying about that. So let me come on down with a short version. So God dealt with her about this particular holistic cancer center in Mexico called, forgive me, I can't remember the name right now. All right. But anyway, so that's where she ended up going. Her husband asked me, because it's out of pocket, insurance doesn't cover this. And so he asked me would I, be able to go with it. I thought it was a great opportunity to be there with her and see how they operate. It was a blessing. So they flew me there, all that good stuff, and to see what all they do. They were still doing the same things I was doing. Pretty much, they did a lot of foot detoxes on her. They did a lot of liver. They working on the liver, a lot of colon cleansing. Enemas is what I was trying to say. A lot of enemas was happening. Another thing, they did the infrared therapy. So, that's good for burning a lot of, chemicals in the tissues. So they put it around her neck, okay, because that's where the tumor. So they put that infrared tube around her neck. And so we just, infrared therapy is so good. And then at the same time, they did a thing called Denice. And that's something they just won't allow here, but it actually pulled her blood, okay, and then they froze her blood, okay, and then they gave her syringes when it was time to leave to inject the blood back into it. I guess they were working on the antibodies and what have you. It was real interesting because there's some history on that this doctor came up with this, and they do it in Mexico, but they don't allow that here, And
it sounds so like a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
And she was able to put that blood back inside herself.
When she came back home, so she was there for, I think, 14 days. I was there for about a week. And then I came back, and then her husband went, and then they came back together. And so coming back up, while we were there was a couple there that was from Mississippi, Caucasian couple that had been going there quite a bit, and the gentleman had prostate cancer, so he went through all the therapy and everything too. Another thing they do there is they teach you about, of course, eating right. So it was kind of funny, Karen, because every day we had just plain vegetables. They taste good to me, but boy, she was like, oh, but she started getting used to it. And their smoothie was not the kind of smoothie I made. I was so happy. As soon as I got smooth, I got so excited. My taste buds got all ready for it. And then when they gave it to her, yes, it was plain, no sugar. It was plain. And that's the thing. When you're dealing with cancer, you have to get rid of sugar.
Yes, you do.
Even the foods that are high in sugar, which is still a good sugar, fructose for, fruit sugar, but still not when it comes to cancer. You got to get away from it because you're looking at parasites in your body that love sugar. And so it's going to keep on, building up and building up. So anyway, they went over that as in the class about changing your diet, of course, eating sugar-free, a sugar-free diet and what have you. So, and that included several fruits and stuff like, some of the apples, even like carrots, because carrots got a high sugar count too. It was like no carrots, no pineapples, just a number of things. But anyway, she came back and we started, just working on more organic foods. We went, one other thing too that she did there, and I even had the opportunity to experience, was the hyperbaric chamber.
Now, I've heard of that. Now, tell me what hyperbaric chamber is.
The hyperbaric chamber is all about adding oxygen back into your system or to your system. And see, when the body pH is balanced, where it's not too acidic, it's not too alkaline, but the pH is balanced, like about a 6.5 to a 7.0, disease can't stay in there. So
Mhm.
that's a goal right there, to always focus on checking your pH and seeing where's your pH and keeping that pH as balanced as possible. So I teach people about how to do that when they come in my office, because it takes time, to work on that. Okay. But here we go with the hyperbaric chamber. We're getting oxygen flowed into our body. So it's like a little, if you ever gone through an MRI machine or
Mhm.
something, but it
Mhm.
has, windows, so you're not feeling claustrophobia.
Yeah,
You,
that
you
is.
you can read your Bible in there, which I took my Bible because I wasn't, I'm like, they're gonna close me up in here, but I got my Bible along with me. I got the word along with me. I'm gonna take it with me. So I took my Bible in there. But you can listen to music. There are some places right here in Arlington now that I went in there, they have the same machines, but they got it set up where you can watch television and stuff. It's really, really nice. It's here
How
in
long are you in there?
about
Is
an
it,
hour or longer. I think maybe almost probably 2 hours. Yeah.
and you can feel the difference
Yeah,
coming once you come out?
oh yes, I had it twice while I was there. Of course, they wanted her. She was having it like almost every other 2 days. Okay, and
Mhm.
so, but yeah, when you just feel so much better to the point of lightness, your head is clear because they use hyperbaric chamber a lot of times on wounds that are hard to heal. So
Mhm.
think about that. Think about you having a wound and you going in here and this oxygen hitting that wound and now it's healing. Isn't that
Wow.
something? So think
That's
about you getting all this
yeah.
oxygen in your body, in your brain. It's good for people with dementia, everything. Okay. So
Okay.
yes, they're opening that up more and more right now in the Tarrant County, everywhere, even where you're located in Austin, just
Okay.
look for hyperbaric chamber. But a lot of times they want you to depend on the center. They want you to have, a prescription or something, referred from your doctor. But this one, when I went to right here on South North Collins, they said, no, you can be a walk-in, but they'll take you through the same steps with seeing a nurse that's going to examine you and the whole 9 yards. You have to pay out of pocket. That's fine. And you're good to go. You're good to
Mm.
go. Yeah.
Okay.
But athletes, I mean, LeBron James, he asleep in a hyperbaric chamber. Some
I
people,
know, I've heard of, yeah, and it's usually you hear the wealthier person using these,
yeah,
so
yeah,
never have I encountered anybody that, actually done it. So, but I've
yeah,
heard of it. So
yes,
it is interesting, to the fact that I would think that you do have more clarity, but I
yes,
didn't know that it does a wound that is hard to heal starts to heal just from being in
yes,
there. It
yes,
really does sound like something, like a sci-fi movie. It
yes.
really does.
Well, she
So,
did all of that. Yeah. And so all of those things is so good. When God released her from there and she came back home, um, she was on that I call it the health kick. She was on that health journey and I was still working with her. Okay. So we got back and she said, I got to find all these modalities. So we did find Dr. Johnson, who actually is in Richardson. He offered the hyperbaric change. So she went to him in Richardson and a couple of times. And then she also felt led to go to a different ENT doctor. So she decided, I'm going to McKinney. So she went to McKinney and we drove to McKinney. It was during the pandemic now, y'all.
mm,
So with that being said, I couldn't go in to be her other set of ears. She went in by herself, but when she got in there, they said, I want you to go across the street. I want you to see this ENT doctor across the street. So we walked across the street. They did allow me to go in at that time. This doctor looked at her throat and he said, I don't know why the other doctor just didn't cut this out. So he set her up for surgery to just cut the rest of that, get that tumor out. Okay. Well, she stayed tumor free for probably a year, a little bit longer. Okay. But then it started growing back. Okay. It
mm,
started coming back. Well, when it started coming back at that point, that's when she said that she was going to go ahead and do the radiation and the chemo. Okay. But her body was still strong because she was still eating healthy. She was still taking all the supplements and what have you. But it came back. That's okay because here's God. This is God. She went, they told her she was going to have 13 treatments, 13.
13.
She could barely get through one because she broke out. She was allergic to it. She broke out like a Nestle Crunch. I
Wow.
mean, so bad. Having that radiation, that chemo took her taste buds. She,
Yeah.
she could eat and everything. So she
Yeah.
was already slim person, but even slimmer. And it was like, and she just kept praying. She kept soaking in the word, soaking in praise. She kept God. She just soaked, soaked, soaked. She was all about that. Nothing but her and God.
Yeah.
Guess what? Her third therapy, her third treatment,
Uh-huh.
God said, "You're healed.
Mm-mm.
Don't go back. Don't
Mm.
go back." She got a mighty testimony. She went back. She told the doctor, "I won't be back." He was like, "No, you got to come back. You got to come back. You got to keep going through it." She said, "No, God has healed me. I will not be back." And it's the truth because there's no more tumor. It's gone. And it's been
Wow.
a couple of years now, you know.
Wow.
So she
And
still,
no
yeah,
nothing. No
no,
nothing. Yeah.
God did it.
Did she stay on the regimen of the foundation
Still
of the
doing it.
herbal
Yeah.
and holistic
Yes.
medicine? She
Yes.
does. That's
Yes.
awesome.
And
That's
even later, her husband ended up with prostate cancer, but it was again, the doctor just kept saying, "You're fine, you're fine." It's sad, but here we
yeah.
go. He got on the foundation and everything because he was like, "Boy, if my wife is doing it, we're no more twain, we're one. I'm doing it too." So
Yeah.
he got on the same regimen like her, and so she was cooking healthy for both of them. And yes, they are both cancer free.
Do you find that with the African American community to make that type of change is harder for us to do? Um,
It's
Even to take on the information that you possess to help us, do people come to you before there's even a sickness just as a life change? Because I know that's a mindset,
yes,
to totally change the way you eat, and how you look at herbs, rather than just putting something on your food for seasoning.
right, right,
But to think of an herb being medicine, that's a whole mindset shift.
right.
That's a shift.
Exactly.
Do
And
you
yes,
find it's hard for us to receive a holistic healing?
it was really hard when I first got started back in in the early 80s. Okay. They said I was a witch or something. I was practicing voodoo. Like, really? Oh, my father. No. I'm serious, Greg. It was like that. I'm like,
Wow,
but anyway, I didn't let that stop me. I kept going. But
good for
when
you.
it comes to men, I mean, I really pray that our men will open up more to at least going to the doctor and having blood work and learning more about their body, because we need our men, we need our brothers, we need them. And so just like us as females, we'll go to the doctor. We'll get our mammograms and all that stuff. And I know there's some bad and good about the mammogram, but we'll go get ourselves checked out. And,
Yeah,
at
yeah,
least we'll be in the know. So therefore, we'll go and say, okay, well, let me get started on this, allopathic way, or I'm going to, at least do some holistic or do both. And
yeah,
so, but the men, a lot of times, they just sit back and have that barbershop talk and get and say, one of the barbers will say, "Oh, I drink Coca-Cola. That'll help move the prostate." Something crazy.
yeah.
I'm in the barbershop and you see I wear natural, and I'm listening. I'm like, "Oh, my father, really?"
Where you get this from?
Man, all I did was start just taking apple cider vinegar. Well, apple cider vinegar is good, but it's not the only thing, so
Yeah,
misinformation, not getting the right information. So then you hear so many stories, and so people are listening to that. So it's like, I don't want to go to the doctor. No, the doctors have a role to play in our life to say,
right.
at least go get blood work and find out what's happening in your body so you can make a sound decision to say, okay, I'm going to go the allopathic way, or I'm going to go the holistic way, or I'm going to do both. So you really want to seek out that information from an expert. So you
Mhm.
find out, you got a doctor, go talk to your doctor. Holistic practitioner like myself, come talk to me. I'm not pushing you to get started with anything. I'm going to educate you. I'm going to inform you. But you ask that question, is it hard for us as a Black race? It is a challenge. And one of the reasons is because God has blessed us with such a strong constitution.
Yes. Yes.
And because of this constitution, it can be good, but also can be bad because we are that energized bunny that we got a lot happening to us, but we just knock it off with, oh, I just haven't had enough sleep. That's a problem. Oh, I haven't had anything to eat today. That's a problem. But all these other problems are coming up and you just keep pushing it away, giving it excuse. You're diagnosing yourself. And then what happens? Oh, I just saw Joe Blow yesterday. Oh, I just talked to him this morning and now he or she is gone.
Yeah.
Whereas our Caucasian brothers and sisters, if they get a pinch, their constitution's not as strong as ours. They can't take that pinch. So what do? They go into the doctor.
They go to the doctor.
They're going to find out what's going on, and they're going to start working on prevention and getting it right.
Yeah.
Okay. Whereas if we had done that, then we could be preventing stuff too. Okay. So whether they chose to say, I'm going to, okay, you say, Doc, I got blood pressure. My blood pressure is high today. Okay, you're going to put me on some medication. Well, you can do that if you don't know everything else about. Now you can come on over to the holistic side and find out what can I do naturally too. Start eating this, start doing some beets, start eating more greens, start eating more salads, start drinking more water. Get away from the sodas. Start moving your body, even if it's nothing but the basic stuff that you did when you was in middle school and high school, which was what? Jumping jacks, toe stretches, sit-ups, push-ups, twists, or whatever. Start dancing.
Just move.
Just move. Yeah. And then as our basic meal, let's get back to basic eating. When we was growing up, we didn't have the money to go eat out every day. We had basic meal. We had 2 vegetables. Yeah. We had a meat.
Yeah.
We would have maybe a fruit for a dessert.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, basic.
Now, convenience is not always the best thing. You know, convenience is not always the best thing. And it can lead you, it does lead you like, okay, well, I did eat something.
Right.
But what you ate may not be what's best for you.
Exactly.
Now I want you to put your business hat on because you've been in this space a long time. And for those that are in business and, you know, for whatever business is, what strategies do you use to maintain your client base? Because you've been doing this a long time.
Yes.
Do you have a strategy or something that you use?
Yes. There's so many tools out here now that I'm still having to learn myself, you know, but I'm still old school to a certain degree. I know people telling me, no, we don't use business cards anymore. We use the QR code. A QR code, what? But no, I'm getting into that, younger people. But a business card still is necessary. Now, you know, you have younger and you have the young, and we still like business cards. And then, yes, we'll take your QR code if you want us to. We'll take that too, okay? We'll please you. We'll take that. But what I do, I still use emails to a certain degree. I have group emails that I take up. If I get your name and phone number and your email, I'm putting you on my group email list. And I send out emails, okay? But then I know we do like text messages because we'll get that a little bit faster. They're instant. It's like, oh, I read your text message. Oh, yeah, I want to do that. And then you make a notation. So I use text messages, I have a tool that I use where I can send out group text messages to keep people informed about what I'm doing or remind them about coming back in for their follow-ups, their wellness follow-ups and stuff. Because one thing about it is like when a person come into me in my office, we're sitting down and I'm spending probably about an hour and a half with them. Okay. So you go to a doctor, they only give you 8 minutes. Okay. And then, you know, so I love to work with the doctors that I work with because, yeah, they only have 8 minutes to spend with that person. But guess what? When they know that patient is like, I don't want to do a lot of drugs, I want to do holistic, then they refer them to me.
Yeah.
Okay? They give them my information and they come to me and then I work with them. And guess what? I still communicate everything back to their doctor.
that's good. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I communicate back to their doctor, but their doctors will refer their patients to me, and we work together. So therefore, I know what they're doing on the medical side, and then we'll see what we can do, because I have, like, for example, herbs. There's a herb called berberine that really works a lot like metformin, but without the side effects. But it's a little berry, it's a fruit. So the company that I work with, I love their products. They're really considered one of the highest quality control supplement companies in the world, and the quality control is unbelievable. So they get their berberine from Italy. And then what happens, our company takes it through over 600 testings. And if it doesn't pass, is what I call, they put it on the back porch, and the other companies will literally take it and use it. Whereas if it doesn't pass, the company I work with will not have the product. Yeah. So berberine is one of those herbs that help with inflammation of the gut. So therefore, it's going to help with what? Glucose level. It's going to help with cholesterol. It's going to help with blood pressure. And it's also going to be a part of my weight management program too, because we're getting to the gut of the problem. So berberine is powerful, even if you don't have a weight problem, but you say, I just want to just do a little inflammation cleaning from my gut. Berberine would be one of them. Then I also
for us ladies that have that little fupa, but we talk about the fupa.
Yes.
So that's something that you could use to help to kind of take that fupa down a little bit.
Whatever you need to do, that's all natural. That's not something that you're trying to totally depend on.
Gotcha.
And if it's nourishing the body is able to heal itself. I say it's a good thing, especially if it's of quality. So, it's so much. I love helping people one-on-one, but I also do group classes too, and group consultations. So individuals want their whole family. They don't want to be the only one healthy in the family. So they ask, well, do you work with the whole family? I say, yes. Let's schedule a time. You and your family will come in, and we'll do a scan on each one of you, and then we'll start working on where to start. So a lot of times I use a program called the ABCD. So A is for activation, B is for building and balancing, C is for core and cleansing, and D is for direct. So when a person come in, I try to, but I explain to them is that this is not a get fit, one stop all, like, okay, I got started. You're feeling much better. I don't see you until the next year. No, it doesn't work that way. This is a process. Yes. You're going to start first activating, meaning we got to get your foundation all cleaned up and detoxed before you can build this house. So once we work on that for a while, because again, the body changes like every 90 days. So if you're not doing anything to really make that change for the better, you're right there where you were, or even worse.
Wow.
So once we can get through this foundation, this activation process, then we can start looking at, let's start building you up a little bit. And it depends on the individual, because we're all individuals. I might activate, they come back in 30 days. Yeah, let's try to do a little building and balance it. Then come back, let's activate a little bit more. It just depends on this person's response.
Wow. But you hit so many things when I'm, like my mind is just racing, because you don't think about, holistic health. We go to the doctor, we get a diagnosis, and we get a pill, and then we feel better. But then you may look, like you said, every 90 days, the body, I didn't even know that.
Yes.
But the fact that, maybe in 6 months, I'm with the same issue. And so you're not really looking at detoxing your body or looking at what you are ingesting.
Right.
That's affecting you. Why do I keep having allergies? Why do I keep having this? I definitely want to have you back on.
Okay.
And then we can just kind of start pinpointing some things.
Yes.
I can say to my sisters that, menopause.
Yes.
I know that's a whole big arena. that we can even talk about and relate. I always say with the menopause, I say nobody told us nothing but just keep living. They didn't tell us anything. So here we are now. We're in menopause. We got all these issues and all these things that we're battling. Even the sugar cravings and things like
Mhm.
this. I would definitely love to just have you back on. You
I'll
have
become
just like
that.
opened my mind to so many things just in this one conversation. So I know that somebody's going to be blessed by,
Thank
just
you.
this interview alone. Now, I do have your website
Okay.
showing here on the screen, but before we leave, I want you to give people access to you. How do they find you?
They can actually give. I'm like I say, old school phone number. Just call me. I give my number out to everyone, and that's 817-690-4637. Again, 817-690-4637. You can always go to the website, which you see on the screen, phiedu.org, and find my information there as well. You can find my phone number there. The email should be there. Yes, where just go to the website and you'll be able to find me, or just call me on my
Do you
phone.
have any social media pages for
I
your
do. Facebook, yeah, thank you. See what I'm saying? Okay. Facebook, I'm on Facebook under Denice, Denice Ford.
Okay.
Plus, Perfect Health Holistic Institute has a Facebook platform. And yes, so those two are the main ones that I'm focusing on right now. Is just go to my Denice Ford, and you should see me and on a picture in Kauai. Hi. That's how you can reach me. And that's interesting you mentioned about menopause, because I'm actually getting ready to speak at a women's group. It's called Hot, Flashy, and Fabulous.
Okay. Now,
Menopause
when is
is
this? When is it?
actually, it's actually Saturday, this Saturday, March 29th.
And
So I'm
where is it? Where
in
is it?
Midlothian. So, and I didn't think about having
That's
that.
okay. That's okay. I mean, and if it's something, I want to say this to you. Of
Okay.
course, I'm going to, before this airs, I'm going to have your information on my page and
Okay.
on our Remove Logic website. So if anybody wants to get in touch with her, of course, you can check in on Remove Logic, because it's going to be on our Facebook page
Thank
as
you.
well. So I definitely want to have you back on, because there's so many topics that we can just help people, with holistic health. I know when I go to the doctor, they ask, "Are you taking any supplements?" And it's really strange that they're asking that now, because people are moving in that lane, especially since the pandemic. People
Right.
were taking the elderberry and seeking other ways to try to build up your resistance so that you wouldn't be, affected, or if you were affected by COVID-19, it
Yes.
wasn't going to be such a detriment to your body. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
and it's really interesting, this landscape that we're in right now with health, climate, and all the stressors that are out
Yes.
there. So I
Yes.
definitely want to give room and space for people to come, because stress
Yes.
is something, with the government being like it is, and all
Yes.
the changes that we're looking at in our nation.
Mm-hmm.
So the food that we
Yeah.
question eating, and I don't know about you, but since the pandemic, it's been very hard for me to eat out. My taste buds are different, not because I
Mhm.
have COVID. It's just I just don't want certain things anymore.
Right.
Um,
Right.
Certain restaurants that I favored, I don't even want to go there anymore. So
Yes.
I just think, this is a good time for you to just kind of get out here. The space is open, but I want to invite you back to Remove Logic, because I definitely can see a need. I can see it as a woman dealing with menopause.
Okay.
Then just the fact that you said whole families come to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I like the way that you can tailor it for the individual, because I know every situation, every individual's diagnosis is not the same. So
Mm-hmm.
it's wonderful that you can tailor it. Just come and have a consultation, and you'll do something just specifically for my need. It's
Yes.
look, a one-stop shop, in other words.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I want to invite you back.
Okay, I look forward to it. Thank you.
We may have to just do, some regular segments and just hit some things. I love this. I've enjoyed it. It's been very informative. It's got my mind racing on so many levels. So,
Mhm.
and I want people to have access to you. I really,
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I
especially
appreciate
our
it.
race, the Black race. I think
Yeah,
sometimes just that shift in your mind, which
yeah.
is again removing the logic and
Hmm.
adding something to taking away maybe a thought process can just shift your health in a whole nother area. So
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, because I love working with children. I say this real quick, and I know we got to end, but I have a program for the youth, but the adults are trying to take over it too. So I'm looking at this program is going to be for not only for youth, but now for the adults. But the program is called, it's up under my nonprofit. It's called the CEO Club,
Mm-hmm.
and it stands for Colorful Eating Options.
Oh wow, that's
In
good.
an opportunity to work in the school, and I'm standing in the cafeteria looking at the kids go by the vegetables and as though really like it's a bug that's gonna kill them. And I'm like, no, come on, y'all need just try it. Give it a try. But
Yeah.
but yeah, so the program is actually for you to teach them about eating healthier, exercising, learning more about herbs as well, the benefits of herbs. Asked the question in the class one time, do you know anyone with cancer? It was it's they was raising their hand, and
Mm,
some of them were like their grandparents, their parents, or even like one had a brother. So can imagine, a elementary child saying their brother, you know, has
wow.
cancer. And it's
Wow.
like they don't know what to do and they want to help. So they were so excited that I shared some things that they said, I'm taking this home to
Oh
share with my
wow.
grandmother, my, whomever. So,
Yeah.
and then as a field trip, I took them to like Whole Foods, and they brought their money and they got a chance to shop, pick out things that they would normally go buy at a grocery, the store, like M&Ms or something. I showed them a healthier version, or chips, or even muffins, a cup. They got that, and we sat down at the table, and everybody just pulled out a paper towel, and we shared with each one to taste, so they could
Wow.
taste. Some stuff didn't taste good, but some stuff like, this is good, Miss Ford, this is good. So I love doing that. And I go
Yeah.
into churches and schools, and even just other organizations that pull it together. So
I
yeah.
love it. Yeah, I definitely want to have you back on. And I just want to say thank you so much, my friend, for just
Ooh,
coming and sharing your passion. And I can see that this will be a space where, you can affect, as you said, children,
yeah.
group, whole families. But I like the way that it can be tailored for one individual, for one issue to help overcome that issue.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if you are looking for holistic health institute, or you just want to get some more information on using herbs to help combat some things that you may be dealing with, please reach out to Denice Ford. She's been in this space for a long time, and I just want to say thank you so much for coming on to Remove. I already know somebody's best because you blessed me just with the information that you have. So just thank you so much for your passion and just operating, according to what God has given you to
Yes.
do.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yes.
totally appreciate it. I
I
do.
appreciate you, and I appreciate this opportunity too. I look
Yeah.
forward to coming back. Thank
I
you.
know. I think I may just, you got me thinking about things, just having maybe a month of just dealing with health
Okay.
and holistic and just inviting guests on. We can do a
Good.
panel right here. So,
Right here. Okay.
so I really am wanting to just kind of put that on my agenda and
Okay.
create, yeah,
Love it. I love
this
it. Let's do it.
this
Let's
place. So
do it.
thank you,
Woo.
and I'll see you. Look, when I come back to Fort Worth.
Also, I want you to text me your address too. Okay.
Okay,
Because
I'll
I
do
need you to text me your address. Okay.
that. Okay,
All right.
all right. Okay, I love you, friend. I love you, and thank you so much. You're
Okay.
such a blessing.
I appreciate you. Thank
Remove Logic. We will be back next Thursday at 7 p.m. And I thank you so much for joining in. And we'll see you again next Thursday at 7 on Remove Logic Radio Show.